Hello, and welcome to the Empowerography Podcast. This is a platform created for women's voices to be heard and a place to share their stories, journeys, and successes with the world for the purpose of helping other women who might be on similar journeys. We are empowering women one episode at a time. I'm your host, Brad Walsh, so kick back, grab one of your favorite beverages, and enjoy the stories. The world needs to hear your message and your story, so don't deny the world of that gift within you that the universe has given you. Someone out there needs to hear your story because it will support them in feeling hope, inspired, and even transformed. Do you want to discover how I help get my clients out of their own way, show up, and confidently share their message? I would love to extend an invitation to you to join me in my free masterclass, Start Your Own Podcast from Idea to Implementation, on Wednesday, April 5th at 1 p.m. Eastern. You can find the registry link in the show notes. Hope to see you there. Hello there, Brad Walsh here, your host of the Empowerography Podcast. Today, my guest is Mika Leah. She is the CEO and founder of Goomi, a public speaker, a national ambassador for Go Red, a board member of the American Heart Association, and last but certainly not least, a mother. Welcome, Mika. It is such an honor to have you here. We have been trying multiple times to get this done, so it's nice to finally be in the space with you and have you here to share a little bit about the beautiful light you put out into the world through the work you do, as well as your story and your journey. So welcome. How are you today?
Thanks, Brad. I'm good.
We are finally here. We were just talking off air about our trials and tribulations of the day, our struggles for the day. So we both decided to take a very deep breath and ground before we jumped on to start recording. So with all of that being said, Mika, that is a hell of a lot of hats you wear and quite a resume. How do you find the time for all of this? And how do you prioritize? How important is prioritization and organization to you?
I'm probably the worst person to ask how I prioritize and how I do it all. I honestly don't know. I suffer from the yes syndrome. So I say yes to everything. And I was just talking about this with my husband yesterday, which is I think as women, we always feel we have to be the best at everything. So I was telling him it's really hard. It's hard to try and be the best mother and what all that entails, and then trying to be the best wife out there and all that entails, and then trying to be the best leader for my team and all that entails. And so it's really hard, and I have no idea how to prioritize it all. I do find that I always go back to the analogy of we're always juggling multiple things. And so we have to know that when we're juggling, we only have two hands. And so there's always a million things up in the air. And there's typically in the juggling, and I don't know how to juggle, but I'm guessing there's one ball in one hand, or like at most two things in two hands where you've got everything else in the air. So I just try to remember that. And for me, I try to prioritize what's most important at that moment. So whether that's my family in the moment, or whether it's my husband in the moment, or whether it's my work in the moment, I do really try. I'm not great at it, but I try to give whatever's the priority in the moment my full attention. And I think that that's the most important thing. And just as women, trying to remember we can't do it all. We can't give 100% to everything all at once. We only have 100% to give. So if you're going to give 100% to something, then everything else is going to have to fall off. And just trying to remember that, I think, is key.
I think it's also important to remember too that you have to give yourself grace.
Yeah.
All of it.
Yeah. That was my word of the year last year, was grace. It was definitely, that was the word I just kept telling myself. Somebody said it to me early in the year, and thank goodness they said it earlier in the year, because that was the word that I used, was just keep giving myself grace. I'm never going to be perfect. And it's, give yourself grace in the moment to be who you are, and to realize that you did probably give it the best you could do at that time with what you had, and then let the rest go. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. And then this year, my word or my phrase that I'm working on is playing big. I think historically I've always played small and felt small, even though I'm running a multi-million-dollar company. And so now it's about playing big, like knowing who I am and
go big or go home.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, with you being a serial entrepreneur, wearing so many hats, what does your morning routine look like?
I used to have an amazing morning routine. I'll talk about
I used to.
So I used to have an amazing morning routine that consisted of me waking up and exercising, getting the kids ready for school. And then I'm trying to even think, it feels like it was forever ago. And then I think having breakfast and coffee and all of that. My current morning routine, because my first meetings are usually at 5 a.m. my time. So I live in New Zealand. So I live on a very different time zone than all of my coworkers and my company and my clients. So my day now starts at 4:30. So there's no way that I'm waking up any earlier than 4:30 because I have 5 a.m. calls. So my morning routine is now wake up at 4:30, 4:45, splash my face a few times with some cold water, brush my teeth, take my vitamins, and then really hop into that. So I'm usually on calls from about nonstop from about 5 a.m. to 10 a.m. my time. And I'm lucky that I have the most amazing husband in the world because he brings me coffee every single day and he'll usually bring me a refill and breakfast. And so
very nice.
All my calls are 5 to 10 and then I take a break. And sometimes it's a meditation and sometimes it's just a breather. And then I kind of hop back into it. So yeah, that's my morning routine.
What drives, motivates, and inspires you to keep going and excelling at all that you do?
Oh my gosh. I think it's that I want to leave a legacy behind. So my story, the shortened version, is that I found myself a single mom of 2 kids under the age of 2 when I was 33 years old. And I found myself also in emergency heart surgery. And when I came out of that surgery, the doctors told me I was lucky to be alive. And I really had this epiphany that I'm living my bonus life. This is the second life that I was gifted. And so I focus on trying to make the most of it and then also do good in the world and leave that echo of positivity and optimism and paying it forward. So I guess that's my motivation for what I do. And then obviously my kids and my family, but I think mostly it's the echo of wanting to, when I'm gone, I want people to say nice things about me.
So I would love to know and for you to share what you were doing for a living before making the jump into entrepreneurship and what was the catalyst for that shift into the entrepreneurial world for you?
Yeah, so prior to the entrepreneurial world, I had a career in advertising and marketing, both on the media side as a media planner and then eventually a media director, and then also on the sales side for big brands like the Washington Post. And then the catalyst was really this bonus life that I'm living. So after my diagnosis, and I had multiple surgeries, I think I survived 4 surgeries before the age of 36. And by the time that was all over, I realized that I wanted to spend more time with my family. And I think that was the biggest thing was if my time here on earth is short, I want my kids to remember me. And I wanted to make a difference. And I really sat back and thought, what do I love doing? And I was a cycle instructor and a yoga teacher. And that was like my fun job on the side. And when I really delved into what made me happy, when I was happiest most in my life, it was walking my dog and then also the cycle classes that I was teaching. And I didn't want to be a dog walker for anybody else's dogs. I loved mine and I love dogs, but I realized that my happiest moments were the moments I was walking into my cycle room to teach the spin classes. And so I really thought about what that would look like and how we could help others. And so bringing workplace wellness into the workplace seemed like I'd never heard of it before. I never knew it existed. And so I kind of jumped in. I had enough in savings to get me through. I calculated, I think, 6 or 8 months worth of money to get me and the kids through. I upheaved our life to be able to afford to be able to make those dollars stretch. So we moved and I moved closer to my parents for their support. And that was kind of my jump into entrepreneurship. And I jumped in with both feet and I just said, let's give it a go and no plan B. Just here we are. Yeah.
You hear a lot of people talk about their plan B if this doesn't work out. And I think, okay, it kind of makes sense to do that in a way, but then it's, well, you're already jumping in with an attitude of, well, if it doesn't work. I
think it is important to think about worst case scenarios. And that was really helpful for me to get over the fear. So I had read Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Work Week. And in it, he talks about conquering the fears. So it wasn't necessarily like a plan B, but it was definitely thinking about worst case scenarios. So I went through the process and the exercise of what's the worst case scenario is I run out of money and I can't afford to live. And so I was like, okay, cool. I'll move in with mom and dad and figure this out. And so I had that. And then I would think, what if I don't know, just all the worst case, but that was one of them. And what if I completely run out of money and can't afford anything? And I think that is a bad worst case. And I knew that I wasn't going to end up homeless. And I knew that I had the support of my parents. And so knowing that kind of gave me the courage of, okay, I've thought through the worst and I've come up with solutions for what if the worst happens. But now I'm ready to go forward. And I think that was a key exercise for me.
You've alluded to and spoken very briefly about your health struggles, your health journey. You have quite a powerful and inspiring story, I know through previous conversation with you. Would you mind going a little more in depth about it? And again, your health journey led you to getting involved and doing the work you do with Go Red, the American Heart Association, which we'll get into and talk about as well. But could you share a little more about your journey?
Yeah, so I was a very young, fit female. I exercised. I even ran a half marathon a couple months after my daughter was born. And after I ran the long story is after I ran the half marathon, I picked up running again after a short break. And I found myself breathless with chest pains. And I kept going back and forth to the doctor. And every time she would tell me the same thing, EKGs were normal. Everything's fine. It's just stress. I was going through the divorce. I had the 2 kids under the age of 2. I had a very high stress job in advertising and marketing. And then I went on a hike on my 33rd birthday. And it was an easy hike. It was one that I had done when I was 9 months pregnant. So I should have been able to do it 40 pounds lighter and in really good shape. And I couldn't even make it that first mile of the hike. And so I was breathless. I felt as if an elephant was on my chest. I had pain shooting down my left arm. And funny enough, at no point did I think I was having a heart attack. But I was looking up at my hiking partner that day, and I was sitting in the dirt trying to catch my breath on the first mile of the hike. And my hiking partner was like a pack-a-day smoker, 50 pounds overweight, like just never exercised a day in his life, drank 2 bottles of wine. And I looked up at him and he hadn't even broken a sweat.
Wow.
And that was the moment that the light bulb went off. And so I really had to push my doctor. I went back and I was like, I'm not taking no for an answer. I went to the cardiologist. He parroted what the doctor had said. You're fine. EKGs are normal. It's just stress. Go home. And I said, you know what? I want a stress test. So I really pushed for that. Again, didn't take no for an answer. I really had to be my own advocate. And 45 minutes after the stress test, he called and said, how soon can you get here? We're going straight into surgery.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So surgery revealed that my left main was blocked at 98%, which is what they call a widowmaker. And he made it really clear that had I not pushed for the testing, I would have walked out of one of my cycle classes and I would have dropped dead. And by the time the paramedics would have arrived, I would have been dead on arrival because it would have been, that was it. No AED machine, no CPR would have saved me in that moment, and I would have been gone. And
that's a life-altering moment.
Yeah, and that was really the life-altering moment that just changed my perspective on everything, right? Family was my number one. I got out of my very bad marriage. And it really shifted my perspective of if my life is short and if this is what my journey is going to be, what do I want it to be? And so I thought I was the only one. I didn't share my story with anybody. I thought I kind of took it as a chink in my armor that if I hid it from the world, I didn't even share it with some of my close friends. And it wasn't until I met somebody from the American Heart Association, I heard them speak, that I went up to them after this event and I said, I'm a heart disease survivor and here's my story. And I shared it with her and she's, you have to share your story. And this is crucial. And I really found in that journey, I really found my mission, my personal mission to share my story as many times as I can in the hopes that I could one day save a life. Because I realized if I had heard somebody speak that was a young female, I probably would have pushed for testing a lot earlier. So, and that's how I got involved with the AHA, and I became really passionate about sharing my story and meeting other young women that had similar stories. I actually just talked to another SCAD survivor yesterday, funny enough, and she was sharing her story. And again, it's one of those experiences that changes your life and changes your perspective and makes you see the world in a different way, which is kind of cool.
Unbelievable. What a, again, just like that catalyst, that life altering moment is like, I got to change shit or I'm not going to be here for my kids, for anybody.
Yeah, I think we all need to figure that out. It's true for everybody. Like you know, it can happen at any time to anyone, but I think I'm grateful for that opportunity and that it brought that awareness to me, because I think we do grow up thinking we're going to live forever, or parents. Yep. I mean, I'm still in the stage of I think my parents are going to live forever, but realizing that's not the case. And everybody has to go through something tragic to realize that there's a big life lesson in that, and to reevaluate that is really key.
Yeah. But the thing is, you have to be able to pull the lesson from it and not just continue down the same path and keep doing what you were doing.
Totally. Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
I was reading that over 60 million, 44% of women in the US are living with some form of heart disease. And that is fucking staggering when you think about it, and incredibly scary. With the numbers that high, it would seem that we are taking more of a reactive approach as opposed to a proactive approach to this health issue. What do you think a couple of the major causes of this number to be so high, particularly in women?
So 1 in 3 women will be affected by heart disease in their lifetime. 1 in 3, and that's crazy numbers. So that 44% is definitely probably higher now. And I think that what we don't realize is that our health, our physical body health, goes beyond just physical health and nutrition. I think a huge factor of that is stress. And I think another big factor of that is sleep. I think those are key things that people can take away, that they can make easy adjustments to. 1, sleep, get 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night. I think most people are suffering, and it's an epidemic. The CDC calls it an epidemic with the lack of sleep that people are experiencing. And it's a simple thing with sleep. Go to bed early. Go to bed early. And I'm not one to talk. I do wake up at 4:30, but I was in bed by 9:30 last night. And all of my friends know that I wake up really early. So when we have get-togethers in the weekdays, it's come over dinner's at 5:30. Get here early because I will be...
You're out by 8.
I will be nodding off by 8 o'clock, yeah. So I think sleep is a huge factor. And the statistic and the research shows that those of us that get less than 5 to 6 hours of sleep a night consistently for like 6+ nights in a row are 40% more likely to suffer a heart attack than those. Crazy. So it's a really easy change. And I highly recommend set an alarm, put the bed up. And then if you have a hard time falling asleep, put a meditation on and give it time. Meditation work takes a lot of time, but you will find yourself falling asleep easier. You will find yourself being asleep for longer, falling into the heavier sleeps and the good sleep that we need. So I'm a big proponent of meditation, or keep the room cool. There's so many little tips and tricks. Arianna Huffington wrote a great book called Thrive, all about the necessity of sleep and how that affects our lives and our physical health. And then stress. I think stress and sleep were the combination for me. And stress is a huge one, like taking the time to breathe. I always tell people we all have 1 to 2 minutes a day to meditate. And you can do it sitting up. You can do it laying down. You could do it in the car. You could do it first thing in the morning. It's just set an alarm for 2 minutes. We all have 2 minutes. I did one on a Zoom call the other day before a meeting, and I just thought it was so clever that it was through Calm, and it's like a plugin with Zoom, and this guy, you push a button, and we just did 1 minute. And it was the most amazing way to lead into this meeting, just with that deep breath. And I think it's a great way. And there's all this research on how meditation and mindfulness can shrink our amygdala, which is the point in our brain that has the fight or flight center. And the amygdala has been historically getting bigger since the innovation of technology.
Yeah.
And there's ways to shrink it. With MRI, research has shown that we can do that. And so I'm a big proponent of meditation, and I meditate every day. So I think those are 2 big ways that are easy, that are like easiest ways to be holistically healthy.
And to help battle heart disease for sure.
Yeah.
Now, heart disease can often manifest differently in women, comparatively speaking to men, and there's still a significant knowledge gap in the area. How do you advocate for gender-specific research, education, and healthcare services to ensure that women's health needs are addressed?
Wow, that is a great question. So again, going back to research, women's health, women's heart health had not been researched until the 80s. It's ridiculous. They felt that our bodies, because of our hormones and whatever, just confused the research. And so I think it's really important to advocate for women's health. It's something that I've been advocating for since my diagnosis, because my first doctor kept telling me that the symptoms I was exhibiting weren't related to my heart, when in fact, when you do the research, women's heart symptoms present as nausea, they present as vomiting, they present as jaw pain and the pain down the left arm is actually a male focused symptom. I had it because my blockage was so severe that I was exhibiting every symptom, and the chest. And I think for women, what's important is that we have to take care of ourselves, because if we don't take care of ourselves first, make ourselves a priority, and we won't be here to take care of our family, our friends, and all of our loved ones. And I think that it's really important. And so that's my advocacy, is encouraging women to pick up the phone, to take care of yourself first, because if I hadn't pushed for that testing, I wouldn't be here, and I would have missed the first day of kindergarten for both of my children. And it's crazy to think of all the experiences that I would have missed, or the life that my kids would have had I not been around. And that scares the shit out of me. So
absolutely. And that speaks to women, though, how they constantly do put everyone else ahead of themselves.
Yeah.
They put themselves on the back burner.
Yeah. And I think it's really important for us to take care of ourselves, because we have to. And I know that we often fall, and I'm one too. Like, I know I'm not standing on my soapbox saying, do it this way or do it that way, and I'm great. I'm not great at it. I don't prioritize myself. I was just having this conversation with my husband the other day. We always, the two of us both, are very much caretakers. And so we always prioritize each other and the kids and family and the jobs before we prioritize our health. Even a simple walk, it's, one more email before I take this walk. And so I think it's really important that we do prioritize ourselves and advocate for ourselves. And I think my story is one of advocacy in and of itself, is making sure that we do advocate for ourselves and keep pushing until you get the answers that you are happy with and that you want, because that's important also.
Well, you had no choice. You had to advocate for yourself. No one else is going to advocate for you.
Yeah.
You have to be your biggest advocate.
Yeah, 100%.
Now, you know this all too well, Mika. As a result of your journey, heart disease impacts not only the individuals, but also the families and communities that they are part of. So I would love to hear about the support that you had along the way through your journey. And secondly, how do you support and engage loved ones and caregivers in the journey towards better heart health and provide them with resources and tools for support?
So Goomi Group was created. So my company is Goomi Group. It's GOMI. And it was really created to start at the heart of it, which is making healthcare, health and wellness affordable and accessible for everyone. And so we work with companies and corporations to provide it free for their employees. And the advocacy and the education that we provide, and I think through my company, we get our experts, our doctors, our nurses, our registered dietitians, our mindfulness experts to really educate on being healthy. Yeah, did that answer the question? I think I went off on a tangent.
Well, you didn't answer what support you had through your journey.
Yeah, so what support I had, I really had my parents' support, and I leaned on them very heavily in those first several years. My dad was also as a heart disease survivor. He had his first heart attack at 32.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and never smoked, never drank, was pretty physically fit, was never overweight. And so I think that's why I always exercised and I ate right, thinking that those were the two pieces that I needed. But the support was really my parents. And then when I met my husband, he's been an amazing support. And it was really important to me that I asked for support when I went to my doctor's appointments. And so I used to have my mom come with me to the doctor's appointments. And then my husband comes with me, and I just had a heart doctor appointment. And I was like, it's okay, babe. It's just a checkup. I know what I'm going to ask. Nope, I'm going there with you. You sometimes think you hear things, and I hear it one way and you hear it another. And so he's been an amazing support. But without my parents and without my husband, I don't think I could have done any of it. And my friends too. Like, I really did rely on my community also when I was a single mom for many years. It really became about my community. I surrounded myself with friends that would help me and be there. And I had so many friends that I could pick up the phone and just say, I need you now, or I need you to cover the kids. Or my neighbor was amazing, and she would take the kids if I needed. So I think it's important that you build out that village, because nobody can do it alone. Even Wonder Woman didn't do it alone. So I always liken myself to, I think I always wanted to be Wonder Woman. And I think all women at some point want to be some type of superhero. And my husband used to, when we first started dating, and I was used to doing everything on my own. And so I carry all the groceries up, like 400 bags, because Lord knows I didn't want to make 2 trips up the stairs. And he used to joke and call me Dub for Wonder Woman. So WW, and he would just call me Dub. You got it, Dub? I'm here to help. No. And I think that constant reminder of him teasing me that I was Wonder Woman, or trying to pretend to be Wonder Woman, and asking for help. And so realizing I had help if I just asked for it. And I think that as human beings, we all want to help. It's all intrinsic in us that we intrinsically want to help others, and we feel good from helping others.
For sure.
And I think 100%. That I always get my bucket filled from helping others. So realizing that if I allow others to help me, it fills up their bucket while it's filling up mine. And I think
but therein lies the lesson, is that we can ask for help. It's okay to ask for help. Asking for help is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength, actually.
Yeah. And I do try to pay it forward, because I've been so lucky in everything I've done, is that I have had the support. And so my focus has always been to pay it forward as much as possible. So I talk to people, I talk to survivors, I help people in every which way, anything I can do to help. Whether that's an entrepreneurial journey that somebody's taking, or whether it's a health journey. I'm not a doctor, but I'm always there for support. I have a good friend of mine that reached out, and he made a promise to his father on his father's deathbed that he would take care of himself. So his father, before he passed, said, please, I want you to get healthy. And so he said, I'm going to honor my dad's dying wish. I'm asking for accountability help. And I thought that was so cool and so strong. And this is a person who was very much closeted in terms of never wanted to ask for help, and very stoic and strong. And so when he reached out, so I've got it on my calendar on a weekly basis to reach out and be his accountability buddy. So this week I was like, what's your success? And give me your 3 successes for this week. And he gave it to me, and I was like, that's awesome. And I'll do the same this coming week.
As a national ambassador for Go Red and a board member of the AHA, what are a couple of messages or tips you would like to convey to the listeners about the importance of prioritizing heart health, and what actions can they take to make a difference in this field? Yeah.
So to be clear, I'm not on the board anymore, since I do live in New Zealand, but I did sit on the board in Los Angeles and Orange County. So I was very honored to be on those boards. And so my advice is to know your numbers. I think that's the most important thing. Know your numbers and know your history. Then knowing the numbers is like your cholesterol, and you can go good cholesterol versus bad cholesterol, and blood pressure and where you sit. And then also know your history. Really, if you can, if it's available to you, start asking questions about that and trying to find out if that information is available. And I think about also looking at your health holistically. So eating more fruits and vegetables, eating less meat, eating less processed foods. And those are kind of the key takeaways of the AHA. I know the AHA also touts like a Mediterranean diet. So again, olive oils and more chicken and more fish, all of that good stuff. So I think there's tons of research out there, and there's tons of resources too that are really key. And figuring out what works for your body. Some bodies need specific things, and some bodies need other things. So for me, I eat all a vegetarian diet, but I even eat mostly vegan. I only allow myself 1 egg a week, and actually, I'm pescatarian, I guess. So I do eat fish. So that's kind of where I get my protein. But I haven't had meat in my son's almost 15. So I guess 14 years.
Wow.
13 years. Oh my gosh, that's been a long time.
That's
what my body needs. Like, that's because my body produces more cholesterol than than most. I won't say normal. There's average, but the average person. So for me, I just don't eat meat and I avoid it at all costs. And I have been for years. And sometimes I dabble in vegetarian and sometimes I'll dabble in fish if I'm craving protein. So I think it's really important to know your body too.
Lifestyle factors such as diet, as we've been talking about, physical activity, stress management, all of these things we've mentioned, they all impact heart health. But what strategies or programs have you found to be effective in helping people adopt healthier habits and making sustainable lifestyle changes?
I give a whole presentation. I have a whole presentation that I do give to corporations. So the biggest lifestyle change I like to start with is eating less meat. And so I always encourage people to adopt a meatless Monday. If it sounds super scary and you love your steak and your meat and everything else, and people are like, oh, that's crazy talk, then I say pick the first Monday in the month or the last Monday in the month. But pick a Monday, one Monday a month to just don't eat meat that day. If you're like, yeah, I can jump in, that sounds kind of cool, then I encourage every Monday to go meatless and then see how that feels. So just eating less meat, I think, is really key. The other things that I encourage people to do to live a healthy lifestyle is get more sleep. That is 100%. Again, I think it's up there with nutrition and with diet and with exercise. Sleep more. Get your 7 to 8 hours. I know my body naturally wakes up, and with myself, I've gone to bed and then seen when I woke up and really measured it and looked at the analytics, and I'm at 7.5 hours. So 7.5 hours, my body wakes up and I'm refreshed and I'm ready to go. So I aim for that. I also listen to your body, because oftentimes hormones and different peaks and valleys and emotions where we are, listening to your body, where we are with how you feel. And so I will often take a nap if I can in the middle of the day. I used to take naps in my car. So I would sneak off to the parking lot and nap in my car or listen to a meditation. So meditations. I'll also just, if I find myself super stressed and overwhelmed, I'll pop out for a meditation. And sometimes it's 10 minutes, sometimes it's 12. I love my meditations when I'm lying down. I'm not like a sitting up kind of person. I'm like, I'll be flat on my back and relax. So that to me is my comfort zones. I think meditating is key too. And those are a few little handy dandy things that I think people can put in place in their practical lives that are just easy and healthier and heart healthy for sure.
So with all this being said about health and lifestyle and heart health and changes, can you share with us a little bit more? You mentioned Goomi. You share a little bit more about the brand, about the company, and when you founded the company.
Yeah, so I founded the company in 2015 as a solopreneur. And then now we've grown it and our team is huge. So we're woman-owned, woman-led. You can follow us at Goomi.group on Instagram. We're also on Facebook, LinkedIn. We've got tons of resources. We're always posting about little changes you can make, healthy lifestyle, healthy living. But yeah, our mission at the company is really to make health and wellness affordable and accessible for everyone. We're an innovative wellness solutions company. So we offer everything from on-site chair massages to yoga to meditation to educational seminars on DE&I and leadership. We really focus on what we call 6 pillars of health. So from financial health to mental health, nutrition, personal, even social health, and everything in between. Yeah, so that was the journey, and we've really grown it to, we're a great group of women. I love everybody. Our values are really in helping others. So if you look at every single person that works for the company, we have 700 instructors nationwide.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And all of them have the same values of wanting to make this world a better place and wanting to help others at their core. So it's really amazing. And everybody's got this great story behind them too, from our chefs to our meditation experts to our massage therapists to, it's really cool. It's a really powerful group, and I'm honored to be working with all of these amazing people. I'm so honored that they want to be a part of our journey. So
that's incredible. As the CEO and founder, how is your role and responsibilities, how have they shifted from when you first started to where you are now?
Have my roles? Yeah. So when I started, I was in it to win it. I did everything. I did the books. I did the hiring. I did the sales. I was going on sales meetings. I'm honored that I now have stepped out of a lot of those roles. And now my role is really about strategy and being more focused on where the company is going. What are we doing? What are we doing to grow? What are we doing to scale? So it's really big picture. And I've got an amazing COO that I literally couldn't do the company. The company wouldn't exist without her for sure. I kind of joke like she's I know I have the title of CEO, but she is 100% the boss. She's my boss. Her name is Terry, and she's amazing. So she runs the day-to-day of the company, and so she makes sure everything runs, and that's her role, and she manages the team. And then I oversee the sales. That's really what my passion is and what I'm good at. And so I focus on sales with the sales team, and then strategy for how are we going to get to that next level.
So this is a great segue into, would love to know, how many employees do you have, and what is your vision for the next 3 years for Goomi? Where do you see it going, and where do you ultimately want the company to end up? What's your grand vision?
My grand vision. So I started as the solopreneur of one, and we're now a full-time team of 7. And then we've got an outside team. So like our development team, our website, our videographer, and all of that. So we're probably an additional 10 on the outskirts that work on the company, but they're not like in the weeds day to day. And then we have 700 instructors that we work with. So like when you add up all of that, we're pretty big. And where do I want us to be? So we are $1 million company as of today, and I want us to be.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I mean, we're multi-millions if you add it up since we started in 2015. We're a multi-million dollar company.
That's huge, though.
Yeah.
I hope you celebrate that.
I try. I think I get lost in the weeds of it and I forget because I'm so focused on the next. But our next iteration is I want to be a $100 million company in the next 3 to 5 years. And I want the team, I think when we're all filled out, the internal team, the full-timers, will be about 20 of us is what I've mapped out.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And that's our big vision. I want to be the Coca-Cola of workplace wellness. I want to be alongside Virgin Pulse. That's where I want.
There you go. That's an amazing vision.
And to call me and be like, "Congratulations, Mika, you've done a great job."
I love that. What is one thing you know now that you wish you knew when you first started your entrepreneurial journey?
I think celebrating the wins.
As we just talked about, you don't even celebrate.
Yeah, I do really try to celebrate the wins and to know that each obstacle and each hard time that you're experiencing is a growth for the next stage and is preparing you. So whatever hardship you're in that moment is just preparing you for the next big leap and making sure that you learn from that too. Because I think that's key. I was talking to another entrepreneur friend and he's, this is the toughest thing I've ever had to go through. And I was like, yeah, and the problems just get bigger. So these small problems are preparing you to handle the big problems and just know.
Training ground.
Yeah, it's like training ground. Like you have to learn to crawl before you learn to walk, before you learn to run, before you learn to
fly.
Fly and do the long jump or whatever. My kids are doing the long athletics thing today, so we're doing like long jump and pole vaulting and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, you have to learn how to do all of that first and mess up so that you can have those learning lessons so that when you get to the big time, you're like, oh shit, now I know how to deal with that. And I think some of the firing that I had to do set me up for the next round of bigger firing that felt harder, and the hard discussions I had to have in the beginning and the middle have prepared me to have these discussions now and boss up, I guess, if you will, of this, having the confidence and the courage to have the hard conversations because you're like, well, I had that hard conversation. I'm ready to have this one. Let's do it. So I think that realizing while I'm in it, I'm like, shit, this stuff is so hard and I'm struggling and I'm in tears. Tears are okay. I've cried more times than I can count. But celebrate the wins and remember to learn from the tough times.
What would you say are the top 3 or 3 of the top skills needed to be a successful entrepreneur?
Never give up, because if you never give up, then you never fail. So just never give up. And I think positivity, just having a positive attitude. But now that I think about it, I think the most important one is remember why you're doing it. Just keep going back to your why. So in order, it would be know your why and have that why be a very powerful why, because no matter good day, bad day, you can always fall back on that why and then never give up. And the next one. I don't remember what it was.
Patience is another one.
Positivity. Yeah. Patience is a good one. Yeah.
Patience is a huge one, I think.
Patience and be positive.
Because I think a lot of people jump into the entrepreneurial game thinking they're going to just blow up right away. It takes time to work up to that. And it happens. Yes, those cases are rare, but it does happen. But for the most part, most people, it takes a long time to build.
Yeah.
As you can attest to. I mean, you're $1 million company now. You started in 2015. It's now 2024.
Yeah, I've been at it for 9 years. And it's so funny because this last year I was like, I finally accomplished the paycheck I wanted. And it's only taken me 8 years to pay myself the dollar
there you go.
I was going to be paying myself. But I heard, oh my gosh, I can't remember her name, but she's an author and she's amazing. And I remember listening to her anyway in her book or her podcast or an Instagram or something. And she's, I'm an overnight success that was 8 years in the making. And I was like, thank goodness, or 12 years in the making. And she's, everybody thinks that this was, because this was my book that propelled her to stardom. She's, everybody thinks it was my first book. I had 7 books before now. This wasn't my book that propelled me. I'm not an overnight success. And I think listening to her say that, I realized, oh my gosh, she wasn't. And a lot of the people that I put on a pedestal and I look up to, like the Sarah Blakeleys of the world, or I'm trying to think of some others, like Michelle Obama, or like all these other ones, the Hillary Clinton, and there's all these like women owners, even the women owner of Canva and the woman owner of Bumble, all of them, when you listen to their stories, or even Gabby Bernstein, you listen to all their stories, they're not overnight successes. It took them years upon years to get to where they were, and nobody was an overnight success. And so I think, it took me 8 years to pay myself the salary that I started off. When I first started, I was like, I'm going to make X, Y, and Z.
9-year overnight success.
Yeah. And it's taken me 8 years to get here. And I was like, crap, I haven't done this. But I also know, I remind myself constantly that an arrow needs to be pulled back to be able to shot forward. And so I have to constantly remember when I think I'm taking a step back, or I've fallen a step back, or I've been pulled a step back, or something didn't happen the way that I wanted it to, and I think that it's not going to. I just remember I have to go backwards in order to go forwards.
Love that analogy. Beautiful.
Yeah.
What lights you up or inspires you the most about the work you do?
I love getting good comments from clients. I'm such a people pleaser. So when I hear from my clients or my instructors, and I rely on my team to pass those forward, and Kelly on my team is really good about letting us know. So she heads up all the instructors. So she's in charge of all the instructors, all 700 of them. And so the other day, a group of them got together and took a selfie together, and they all had the best smiles, and they sent her a note. Thank you so much for this opportunity. We had the best day. They were massage therapists. So they were like, thank you so much. We had the best day. This was so much fun. That lights me up. Or a client that we just had a client send us a note being like, oh my gosh, Dr. James was amazing and we love him so much. We want to do another educational seminar with him. And I think he was talking about prostate cancer or something, like not. Like, he wouldn't be like, oh, that was a great presentation, let's have another one. But he did such an amazing job that the client came back, and I gave a presentation, funny enough, and they were testing this new technology that we have that asks everybody on the presentation afterwards to do a QR code and then answer a little survey on the speaker. And so my team was like, Mika, do you want to do it? I was like, okay, I'll do it. So I did it to experience it. And then I thought, I could use the good feedback, and let's see, how I do. And it was so amazing. I got great reviews, and everybody was like, this was amazing, and it helped to hear the story. And it just, I don't know, that lights me up. It's like a happy clients, that employees are happy and that they love their yoga class or their massages, or even our massage therapists loving their day at work. That to me is making the world a better place. These people enjoyed teaching, or they enjoyed educating, or they enjoyed massaging, or they enjoyed the cooking demonstration. And then my team is enjoying it, and then the employees are enjoying it. It's just like everybody having a great time. And at the end of the day, they're getting healthier and happier.
Yeah.
That lights me up. It makes me so
That's
happy.
Amazing.
So, making a difference in the world.
Well, it just reinforces your mission.
Yeah. Right? And to know that I'm on the right track, that I'm accomplishing my mission. And that lights me up. And on a personal note, I've had it where I think teaching my kids to take chances, and that work is hard, but it's also rewarding, and to give it your all and to push through. And I've shared my story enough times now that I have had that rewarding experience where somebody came to me and said, thank goodness I listened to your presentation and I heard you speak, and I went and I got checked out because I felt like something was wrong, but the doctors were poo-pooing me. And they were like, you saved my life. I actually had X, Y, and Z heart problem. And because I encouraged them to go get checked out, I really did save a life. So
Incredible.
It's been magic. Yeah, I'm excited to be on this journey. And I think it goes back to that finding your why. And on the bad days when I'm in tears, I have to remember why I'm doing it, because that's what's going to get me through.
For sure. Mika, what do you think your unique skill set or superpower is that's helped you become successful?
I think my superpower is, well, I'll tell you what my husband thinks my superpower is. I think is that I work hard, and I don't know, what's my superpower? That's such a hard one. Yeah, I think that I work hard and I never give up, and I'm positive. I think it's my ADD that allows me to forget how hard it was like an hour ago or why I was upset, and I can easily switch. That might be my ADD is my superpower. I can do a million things at a million times fast as lightning. I don't know.
Own it, Mika. Own it. Speaking of success, how do you define that word? What does the word success mean to you?
I have defined success as happy. To me, it's being happy in what I do. And I guess success on different levels is different. So success in my personal life is that I'm happy on most days. My family is happy. That to me is success. And being able to live a comfortable life. I think that that's success. Being able to do what I want when I want. That's my definition of success. Okay. Yeah, what I want when I want is my definition. Yeah. It's not based in money. It's not based in a house. It's not based in material things. It really, truly is based on my level of happiness and comfort, contentment. I think content is sometimes used as such a negative word, but it's actually a really great way to live life. Like if I'm content, then I'm happy. And so I think that to me is success. On a business side, success is being able to bring together a team that can balance both family and have a job that they like. To me, it's have a job that they like, get paid a salary enough that they can afford the life that they want, and make a difference in the world, like making a difference with other people. And so some days when my team's having a hard day or they mess up or something, I constantly remind them, we're not doing brain surgery. Nobody died at the end of the day. Okay, yes, shit happened. Yes, there were mess ups made. But like at the end of the day, nobody died. So we're doing
Everyone's still alive. Yeah,
everyone's still alive. And we'll learn from it. What can we learn from it? Do we need to put a new process in place or whatever? So to me, it's about enjoying the people that they work with, making money that they can support their families, and that they get to do good in the world. Do good in the world. That's success to me.
What does the word empowerment mean to you?
Empowerment kind of means confidence, that you have the confidence to move forward and you're empowered to do something. And I think we need to also empower others. I think that's really important, is that we do empower others and give them the confidence to do what they are meant to do. So I think it's important women empower other women. I've been so lucky on my journey that I've always been empowered by other women and empowered by my team. And so I think it's like that, reaching that hand out and lifting somebody up, or carrying them on your back if you can't lift them up.
For sure.
That to me is empowerment.
Okay, we're going to jump into a little rapid fire section. So that's grouping your questions, just be 2, 3, 4 word answer type thing. Okay. What was your dream job as a child?
CEO.
How would you describe yourself in one word?
Positive.
What is one of your favorite entrepreneurial books?
Good to Great.
What is one thing you love about yourself that is not related to your physical appearance?
I can make friends in less than 5 minutes.
If you could teach the world one thing, what would it be?
Love yourself first.
What is one of your biggest fears?
Not being able to watch my kids grow up.
And that concludes our rapid fire section. Now back to our regularly scheduled program. What is one lesson your career has taught you that you think everybody should learn at some point in their life?
Take chances. I know that wasn't rapid. We're not in the rapid fire anymore.
No, we're not.
But I think I would love to encourage people to take chances. I think people fear so much, fear failure. And I always like to say failure is only a failure when you decide it is.
Love that. I think failure is only a failure when you give up.
Yeah, exactly. And then you decided to give up, right?
Yeah.
If you give up, then you've decided
That's
to fail.
failure.
And I think it's okay to give up. Don't get me wrong. I gave up in a marriage that wasn't right for me, and that was the best thing for me. So people give up alcohol, and that's a good
People
thing.
give up meat.
Yeah, they give up meat. There's positive giving up, and I think that's okay. But I think that if you really want something and you're scared that it's not going to work, I think taking a chance and taking that leap and seeing what happens. And it's okay if it doesn't end the way you want it to. Keep going. And sometimes a journey, you'll find yourself on a different path, and that's okay.
Yeah. What aspect of your personality do you think has been the most helpful in your career?
I think what's that word? I've lost it. But the fact that I don't give up, my tenacity.
Yeah, tenacity.
Yeah, I've always been told I was tenacious. I had a client, Ken, if he ever listens to this. Ken once called me a pit bull, and he worked for NBC, and he was a big wig, and he's like, wow, you are really a pit bull. I was like, I know that's probably not a compliment, but since my current dog was a pit bull at the time, I was like, I'm going to take it as a compliment. We're going to roll with that. But yeah, tenacity.
If you could step into my shoes, what question would you have asked yourself that I didn't ask you?
Oh gosh, that's a great question. I don't know. I don't know. I think you've asked all the good ones. Maybe it would be like, we've talked about the lessons I've learned. We've talked about I would jokingly maybe say, what was the biggest mistake I ever made?
There you go. Answer your question.
I think the biggest mistake, I don't know if it was a mistake. Oh, I can tell you what the biggest mistake is. Probably not listening to my gut. Every time I don't listen to my gut is I make a mistake. So I would say every mistake I've ever made was not listening to the gut and not listening to the little voice inside my head or my intuition. That has been every mistake I've made.
If you had the opportunity to sit down and have a 1-hour conversation with one woman, any woman in the world, who would it be and why?
I don't know. There's so many. I would say Hillary Clinton. I would say like Michelle Obama, Martha Stewart. I just watched her masterclass, and boy, she's a badass. I don't know.
She hangs out with Snoop. She is a badass.
She is. Her masterclasses are pretty awesome. I need to go back and take notes. And I listen to Hillary Clinton's too. There's so many. I don't know. Those are like the three that come to mind. I just think that they had to trudge through some really dark stuff to reinvent themselves. And they just, to me, were like where I think I've hit bottom. I think both Hillary Clinton and Martha Stewart, we forget they hit bottom at one point.
Yeah.
And just that they were able to pick themselves up, dust themselves off, and have conquered so much that we've forgotten about the parts that they hit bottom, and just that they're rise again. Oh my God. I would spend an hour with them. I don't even know what I would say. Just sit in their presence. Yeah, I'd probably ask them about running businesses and lessons learned and advice that they have. I just feel like that they have been through the ringer.
If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that piece of advice be?
Listen to your intuition. That intuition is always going to be correct. Now, I have to say, though, while I say that, I've made a lot of mistakes. I've learned a lot, but I also realized that I wouldn't be living this amazing life had I not experienced everything, had I not had a horrible ex-husband, had I not had my heart disease, had I not been in emergency surgery, had I not decided to leave my world and move to Orange County from Los Angeles to Orange County, had I not lived abroad for a year, which was great. It was one of the best decisions. But every moment in my life, every decision that I made has led me to this life that I lead now. And it's amazing. And so for that reason, I don't know if I would change anything. I might also tell myself to have more confidence in myself. That I think that's something that it's taken me 40-something years to figure out, which is to be confident in myself, that I am worthy, I am valuable, I'm smart. I think 40-odd years to figure out I was smart, maybe 30-something years. I probably figured out I was smart in my mid-30s.
Lastly, Mika, if you were to deliver your last 30-second speech to the world, your tribe, your people, your corner of the world, what would that last 30 seconds sound like? What words of wisdom would you impart?
I think take care of yourself and take care of the world. We only have one world to live in, and be nice to people. At the end of the day, I think this world would be a better place if everybody was nicer, and be accepting of others. I think that's another big thing that is really important, is you don't know what other people's struggles are. So always reach out a hand to help, and also be understanding of what people are going through. Tolerance.
Thank you so much for taking and making the time to be here with me today, Mika. It was an absolute pleasure and honor to have you as a guest. And thank you for shining your bright, beautiful light out into the world through all the work you do. I have thoroughly enjoyed our conversation. You are a beautiful, bright light in this world. And I'm just so grateful to have you as a member of the Empowerography community. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for taking and making the time to be here with me today.
Thanks, Brad. Thank you for this opportunity. It's been a pleasure on my end, too. Thank you.
Once again, my name is Brad Walsh, host of your Empowerography Podcast. Today, my guest has been Mika Leah. She is the CEO and founder of Goomi, a public speaker, a national ambassador for Go Red, and last but certainly not least, a mother. Thank you so much, Mika. Have a beautiful rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you very much for listening to this podcast. If you haven't yet, please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share with all your friends. You can find me at viseuphoria.ca and follow me on Instagram at Empowerography Podcast and on Facebook at Empowerography. Please join me next time for another inspirational story from yet another amazing woman.